This is so weird.
Let me get my notes up.
Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I've been persuaded by so many people to do this, and I think it's nice for me to be able to talk longer than 60 seconds, which probably means I could speak a lot slower, but here we are. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Sophie King. I am an actress, but I also post videos on TikTok, mainly about Marvel, but as well as lots of other things, and I'm basically a big fangirl of lots of stuff. So I can't promise that I'll post regularly on here, just because TikTok is a lot already, but I just want to have some fun and just see what I can make and see what I can do. I will probably post some of my series once they're completed all together up here so you can watch them. And yeah, so today I thought we could celebrate the ending of WandaVision, and I could just talk about what my opinions are, what I think it means, everything like that. So obviously massive spoilers for WandaVision, especially episode 9, so if you haven't watched it, make sure you come back after you've watched it. Where have you been? Have you been living under a rock? So if you haven't watched the whole series, then I wouldn't suggest watching me talk about it. I just want to throw this out there that I am by no means an expert, I am just a big fan. And this is just my opinions from a big MCU fan as well as an actress. Okay, so I'm going to go through the decades and episode by episode, and then I'll share my overall opinions. So I've bunched 50s and 60s together because they're both black and white and they were both released at the same time. I can sort of see why people didn't really like these episodes, just because obviously black and white is so different from what this generation has seen on TV, and I think I can see why it wouldn't appeal, but I actually quite enjoy sitcoms, and I've never watched a black and white sitcom, so it was a different vibe for me that I really enjoyed. And obviously I'm such a Marvel fan that I was like, I'm going to stick it out, I'm going to watch everything, I'm going to really focus and see what's going on, and it was so different from the classic MCU that we've been seeing that I was like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I'm really glad that they released both episodes together, because I think if it was just episode 1, the 50s, by itself, I think a lot of people would have been very disinterested by it, because besides Mr. Hart choking and it just being a bit weird, there wasn't a lot to the episode that gave you off the MCU vibe. So I was really glad that they released the 60s episode as well, because then you had the Beekeeper and Wanda reversing time as well, and you still really didn't have a sense of what's going on, but it gave you more details. I think it was a really nice intro. There wasn't too much information at once, and it still kept you guessing and wanting to come back for the next episode. I'm just gonna relax a little bit because my back's hurting. So 70s was actually one of my favorites, I think. I really enjoyed the dynamic of Wanda like giving birth, and how she like got bigger quicker, and the butterflies was really cute, as well as like Vision learning about pregnancy. The comedy elements in it was really good and really funny, and I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the theme songs. I mean, I liked most of the theme songs, to be honest with you, but I really liked the 70s one. We got to see so much more of Monica as well, and I really liked the dynamic between them both. And then obviously we got that massive cliffhanger at the end with Monica being ejected, is that the right word? Forcibly ejected from the Hex. It really kept you guessing throughout the week of what actually had happened, because we still didn't really know anything at that point. The next episode was the sword episode. I think it was like We Interrupt This Program was the actual name of it. I really enjoyed it. I think it didn't feel forced to throw that episode in. It felt natural because we'd just seen Monica come out of the Hex, so I think it really fitted in and it really worked, and it gave you so many more details into the show as to what was actually going on, and how they didn't just decide to make an Avengers sitcom. I think it was a really good episode because it gave us some answers, but still left questions out and up there, like how did this all start, which obviously we then found out. It answered a few questions, but it also kept you guessing and kept you coming back for the next episode. Obviously we got to see Jimmy and Darcy, more Monica, Hayward, the scum. I really don't like that man. The 80s, one of my favourite intros. Obviously we got Baby Vision, which I think is hilarious and was really funny. We got to see the children and them age up. Billy is too precious for this world. I love Billy so much. I actually got really sad over Sparky as well. I'm such a dog person, and I was like, this dog just broke my heart. And it just got worse from there, honestly. It was in this episode where we got Scary Wanda coming out of the Hex as well, because they sent the missile, and when I tell you, when I saw that episode, I was like, Wanda scares me. Like, I would never face off with her because I wouldn't stand a chance. And I think that was really interesting because they really villainized her, which is obviously what Hayward wanted, but we didn't know that yet. And so it really kept you guessing as to whether, like, wait, is she actually like a villain now, or is she nice? Like, what's happened? We still didn't really know anything. I think villainizing her was great because it then gave her an arc throughout the show, because obviously by the end she took down the Hex, but in that episode she didn't want to take down the Hex, so it showed you that emotional arc of like she's finally accepting. And I think that was really nice to add that in there, because otherwise her whole journey throughout the show would have just been very straight and plain, but you've now got this emotional arc going through the show. Oh my god, when Wanda was like, yeah, I'm just gonna roll the credits whilst they argue, I already know all of those lines off by heart, and I've seen the episode like 3 times. And obviously we got, I don't want to call him Ralph Boner, but here we are. We got Ralph. Everyone was like, oh my god, what's happening? It gave you another question, which we didn't get really answered, but it gave you another question and it gave you another reason to come back. So the 90s was the Halloween, and I really loved the costumes. I love how they managed to get the comic costumes in there in such a cute, like, little Halloween-y way, so they were very vibrant and weren't too different from what the comic style was. It was really fun seeing the boys use their powers for the first time, especially Billy stopping Tommy from running. That was such a cool moment. The 90s wasn't really my favourite episode. It was a bit slow for me. I think the end personally was the best part, with Wanda expanding the Hex and Vision trying to escape, and then obviously Darcy getting engulfed in the Hex as well as lots of sword agents. I think it was really a really good climax for the episode, and yeah, I think that was my favourite part. I didn't really enjoy the 90s. I liked the costumes a lot and I liked the boys, but to be honest with you, I just didn't, I don't know, it was Ralph, I think, really. I don't know, it just felt weird. I really enjoyed the Naughties episode. I'm a massive fan of Modern Family. I really love the show, and I used to binge watch the episodes all the time. And so I really love the talking heads as well, and I really like how they fitted them into the episode. It felt as though it added to the show, especially with Visions, and obviously then with Wanda, and then the interviewer talking to her, which obviously was Catherine Hahn. Now we've got episode 8, which if you follow me on my socials, you'll know that broke me. I literally could not stop crying. I sobbed several times throughout the day, and I woke up with swollen eyes on the Saturday. It definitely added a lot of depth to Wanda and Vision's character, because we didn't really have a lot of like character depth to them. Obviously we knew a lot about Wanda and we knew how Vision came about, but then we kind of had this jump from Ultron to Civil War, and then they were like together, not together, and then they had another jump to Infinity War, and there was just a lot of holes missing. And so going back, and especially that compound scene with Vision comforting Wanda, it added a lot to their relationship, and so it hurt so much more. Especially the "but what is grief if not love persevering" line was I constantly thought about it through like the whole week, and I would just want to cry over it because it was so beautifully put, and the fact that this synthezoid can speak more eloquently than any human I've ever met. The whole episode basically showed that Hayward lied, and I was like, I knew it. Knew not to trust him. I think for this episode, if you're more invested in the action, I can see why it was a bit disappointing, because it literally was just character development. But for me, I'm gonna mute my computer. For me, the action always means so much more when you have a bit of character development from it. You know why they're fighting, you know why they're doing it like that. Honestly, the house deed was the final straw for me to grow old in. It just broke me, I'm not gonna lie to you. I really did sob, and I really couldn't stop sobbing. And then obviously the White Vision post-credit, and I saw it and I was like, that was the cameo Paul Bettany was talking about. He really did troll us. He really did troll us. And I wasn't happy about it. I really wasn't. But I was like, do you know what, that is kind of funny. And then obviously we have the finale, the final episode, episode 9. It was epic. It started straight away. There was no... I didn't actually say, "Hey Siri." Agatha made her intentions clear from the get-go of that episode, so you really just knew what was going on. But for me, I felt we needed more than the previous flashback that we had in episode 8 to really understand Agatha. It was kind of like, I just want your power. But great, but there wasn't enough depth to that backstory for me. But I can see why they didn't put it in, because they didn't have enough time to explore that, because it's Wanda's show essentially. I mean, Wanda and Vision, but it's essentially Wanda's show, so you're going to focus on the main character. But I feel like for it to hit harder, we needed more backstory on Agatha, because obviously in the comics she's not really a villain, so it just felt like underdeveloped in my opinion, but that didn't take away from how epic it was. I'm gonna be honest, White Vision terrifies me, stands out like a sore thumb, and really scares me. As soon as he put his hands on her face, I was like, nope, nope. Definitely like almost, I almost got like Terminator vibes. We have to talk about the boner joke, obviously. I was like, yeah, I don't think he is the X-Men Quicksilver. I don't think it's actually him. But I almost felt disappointed that it was literally just wasted on a boner joke. Like, that whole thing was just a trollus, and something doesn't sit right with me. I think I'm just in denial, to be honest with you. I'm not saying that we will see him again for definite. I'm just saying that I wouldn't rule it out. In my notes, I just wrote Monica, Monica, Monica in capital letters. Love her. When Hayward didn't hesitate to just fire a few rounds at some children, she just instinctively jumped in front of them, and then she slowed the speed of the bullets down. I was like, beautiful. She's just so incredible. I'm so excited to see more of her in Captain Marvel 2. I also wrote literally like The Incredibles, and if you've been on my TikTok lives, you'll know that my favourite movie this is so embarrassing coming from an actor's standpoint, my favourite movie is The Incredibles. I watch it a lot. I literally watch it all the time, and it's my favourite movie. I think it's a masterpiece. So to see that it all like team up as a family, and then Wanda's little force field moment, I was like, Incredibles, love it. Viz v Viz confused me. It was 8 AM in the morning, well, it was probably about 8:30 by then, but it just confused me. I haven't rewatched the episode again, so I think after I've rewatched it, I'll probably actually understand what they were going on about. But obviously then Hex Viz unlocks White Vision's memories that Hayward blocked, and then White Vision has disappeared. We don't know where White Vision is, but he's out there. Wanda's new costume, just Wanda is a bad bee. Her new costume is, I can't wait to see the cosplayers. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm very excited. Saying goodbye to the kids made me cry. I knew I was gonna cry because after you found out that they obviously started to disappear when Wanda opened the hex for the citizens, I was like, we're gonna have to say goodbye to them at the end, I just know it. And so saying goodbye to them and them being in the bedroom and saying goodbye was just so emotional and literally made me cry. Because I was like, she's already had to say goodbye to everything else, now she's got to say goodbye to her kids, like that's awful. And saying goodbye to Vision was obviously heartbreaking. Because we've seen Vision die twice before, I feel like it didn't really hit as hard, but I was still crying because I was crying over the kids and it was still an emotional goodbye. And obviously we'd now seen their relationship a little bit more, than it did really mean a lot more than it did in Infinity War, and I definitely guarantee if I go and rewatch Infinity War, that will probably hit harder than it's ever done before. There was just so much to unpack from that episode, and it was just like left, right and centre there was things going on. There were like callbacks to other things. It was just a lot. My brain needs that, but it also can't handle that in an early morning situation. So that was my little episode, very brief breakdown of my opinions. And now I'm just going to talk about my overall thoughts and share them with you. So for me, I really want to touch on the actors' performances. From an actor standpoint, they did a wonderful job. I literally had to write a whole essay last semester about how actors changed their preparation for different genres. And so this show was like sitcom and classic MCU superhero mixed into one, and they managed to weave in and out of that so effortlessly. And I really want to pinpoint Elizabeth Olsen's performance because it was so good. Like in the earlier episodes we really saw, you know, like sitcom Wanda, super happy, funny, comedic, and then in like episode 8 we saw a complete breakdown, and you really felt like you were going on that journey with her where she's all happy and she's just given birth to the twins, and then Monica's like, oh, he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? And obviously we then see Wanda kick her out, and she's gone from this happy sitcom, I've just given birth to twins, to, oh my god, she's terrifying, she's now gonna kick out Monica. You didn't see it switch, it just happened so effortlessly, and it didn't feel forced. And it's such a hard job to do that it was immaculate, it was so good. I definitely think what helped with that was the writing, and the writing was really good. You know, there was a definite like sitcom vibe when it was sitcom, but then there was also the classic MCU kind of things, and it just flowed. And I think the changing of the aspect ratios from when it was like real life to sitcom really was a good visual cue for the audience to see the difference between them. I think I can't make a WandaVision video without talking about the fan theories. Personally, I got fed up with them. I think people took it too far. I don't mind theories when there is hard evidence and something really to back up the theory that they're sharing, but people were pulling theories out of air. There was nothing to back it up, and they were convinced this thing was going to happen even though there was no evidence pointing to it. And even if there was the slightest of evidence, they wouldn't go, oh, there's a possibility. They were like, it's happening. And it didn't spoil it. I think it's just people got so like hyped up for these things to happen, and when it didn't happen they were disappointed. And I really went into each episode not expecting anything. I was like, I'm gonna go in with no expectations. I'm not expecting anyone to show up, and I really enjoyed it because I really didn't know what to expect from episode to episode. For me, the only problem that I had with the show was just the pacing. It would be slow, and then something would happen towards the end of the episode, and then obviously the standby would come up, and that was the end of the episode, and we never really got a climax at the end of the episode. You were almost there, but you never got it until obviously the last episode, and that's when everything happened, and I was all over the place, and you were trying to remember things that happened in the other episode. I can see why they did it, because it definitely made you come back each week. Obviously there's like a few people that have said that they're quite disappointed with the ending, and I purely think it was from the fan theories going too far. But you also have to remember that this series is leading into Doctor Strange. Essentially, Doctor Strange 2 is the second series of WandaVision. And so you have to remember that yeah, we've now got to wait, what, a year for it. You are going to get somewhat of a resolution with Wanda being in it. Obviously with Wanda doing astral projection in the post-credit scene, that really did link to Doctor Strange, and I think Doctor Strange is going to be about Wanda and her kids. I really do. And I'm super excited to see. I mean, I'm not the biggest Doctor Strange fan. I'm a big Benedict Cumberbatch fan, but I don't really ever watch Doctor Strange. I'm really excited to see Wanda and Doctor Strange and how their dynamic is, whether Wanda's a villain in it. Some people are suggesting that, I don't really know. I'm excited to see what the dynamic is. Overall, the series was just an excellent. I really enjoyed it. I think it was wonderful, and it was such a bold departure from classic MCU, and I think they did a really good job. You know, it was something different, and they didn't half-ass it, and it was amazing, and I loved it. The next thing is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and that was my most anticipated series to watch, so I'm so excited. It's like just under 2 weeks now, so I'm gonna turn into such an obnoxious person when it comes out. I'm gonna be so horrible. I'm literally gonna be engrossed. Like I was obsessed with WandaVision. Wait until Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh dear. But yeah, bring it on. I'm so excited. This is my third time filming the outro. So yeah, thanks for watching this video of me just basically ranting about WandaVision. I don't know what else to kind of do on this channel. I suppose I could react to trailers if that's something you want to see. If you have any suggestions, definitely just comment down below and I will definitely read them. All my socials will probably be in the description, and if you enjoyed this content, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot. And yeah, I don't know how to sign this off, so I'm just gonna say bye.